Hello, good to see you all again. It's Professor Gray here with you, and welcome back. We have finished our midterm exam, and now we are going into the second part, the final part of our course. Your scores were quite good on the midterm. The class averages all were roughly in the high 70s to low 80s percent, mostly low 80s, I would say, which is like a B average, which is very good. The midterm did not have any listening on it, but the final test, which will officially, the school has said, will be in class, that of course will have listening questions. Don't worry about the final test today, though. I'll give you more information about that later on. I quickly want to go over the midterm. Now, if you, I'm just going to let you know the answers. If you have any questions about why something's right or why something is wrong, please email me and ask me. I think most of you, as I said, did quite well, and you can see which one or ones you got wrong now, and hopefully understand why, and if not, then email me. Passage one was one from the book Autism. We had already done that, so I'm not going to go over the passage again. I just want to go over the answers here. Number one, primary means main. Number B. Number two, onset is D, beginning. Number three, make itself known, appear, or to manifest itself. We talked about that in the lecture. Number three is B. Number four, syndrome, A, concurrent set of symptoms. And the key here is that it's a plural. A syndrome, a singular, a set of symptoms. Number five, etiologies, the causes of something, C, and number six, B, respect to means regarding or in regard to. World War II, in the notes, you see I have some notes. You can look at these notes if you want to reread the passage. Things that may or may not be helpful. If you had trouble understanding the passage, I would suggest reading it again and checking the notes for any vocabulary you might have missed. The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in order to, the reason why, B, to cause damage to the American Pacific Fleet. Number one is B. Number two, it said a quarter of a decade. A little over 2 years, more than 2 years, 2.5 years is a quarter, so almost or about a quarter of a decade. A decade is 10 years. Number three, a fleet. Some of you missed this one. D, warships, okay? The fleet is not the base. The fleet is the set or the team, if you like, of ships, okay? Number three is D. Number four is B. When America got involved, it had already been happening for over 2 years. The war had already been going on, had already been happening for over 2 years. B. Most of you got most of those right. Some of you missed one or two of them, but you did quite well in general. Birth order, again, I'm not going to read the whole thing. There's a lot of, a lot of vocabulary and expressions that you might find helpful that are in the class notes that I sent you. Let's go over it. A body of work is an amount, almost like a set, a group, one set, one group, one amount of research. Adler, A, he was one of the first, okay? One of the first to study the effect. Pioneer. A pioneer means somebody who does something new or something for the first time. Number three is A. These studies have tended to classify birth order into 4 different categories. This is sort of an introduction or announcement of what is coming now, these 4 different categories. It's like bridge of sorts. Number 4, traits, C, characteristics. Number 5, the highlighted sentence here, firstborns have been found to be more responsible and assertive, more leadership positions, more in Congress, more presidents, and so on and so forth. So several examples, D, several examples show that they have been a lot of firstborn leaders. Number 5 is D. Number 6, accepting A, tolerant of something. More accepting of people, more tolerant, more understanding of people. Number 7, again, the key here is thus. Thus means a recap, summary, a restatement. It comes at the end. The reason I added this question was because we've talked about that a few times. D. Number 8, not true. C, no, they don't prefer games with fierce competition. C is wrong, so C is right. Number 9, B, more achievement. The key here is the synonym achievement, accomplishment. Achievements, accomplishments. B, number 9 is B. And the last one, number 10, D, an only child. An only child means, of course, a child with no brothers or sisters. Okay, so again, those are the answers. Please check your answers. If you're not sure why you got your score or why something's wrong, why some A is wrong and B is right, that kind of thing, then you may ask me in an email. Okay? Otherwise, by and large, you did really well. Congratulations. The test was not super easy. It's not really a good scenario to do an online test, but we have to do what we have to do. Many of you couldn't make in class, but as I said, the school has said that the final exams are supposed to be in class. So be sure that you are making arrangements and plans to be here during week 15. And I'll get a chance to see all of you, which also makes me happy. Okay, let's go. Excuse me, I have a cough today. Let's go to skill number 6, negative facts. The homework began on page 61. Okay, Wrigley's Chewing Gum. This is the most famous gum company in America, and it's the oldest. It was developed as a premium. A premium is like a free gift. You know, if you go to a supermarket, sometimes you buy, a box of laundry detergent, and if you buy it, you get a free bar of soap or some free toothpaste or something. It's a very common marketing tool all over the world, and that's a premium. You'll see them pretty much every day in big supermarkets. It's the store's way of trying to, get rid of a product or get people to try something new. Number 11, he was not working in the factory. He was selling soap that was made in the factory, but he was not working in the factory. 11 is D. Number 12 is A. No, they didn't like it because they didn't get a good profit margin. Profit margin means the amount of money you make when you sell something. So if I make cups, my factory company, we make these cups and they cost Baek won for each cup, 100 won. And then I can sell them for 200 won, Baek won. Then my profit margin is Baek won. Okay? I pay 100 won to make it. I sell it for 200 won. My profit is 100 won profit margin. Number 13 is B. It's not true. He was not selling chewing gum. No, he was selling soap and using cookbooks and baking soda as a premium. Giving away a promotion is like a premium. It's like you promote something with a gift, a giveaway. Number 14, D. D and B. Look at D and B. Now, D and B are opposite. Use chewing gum as a premium to sell baking soda. Use baking soda as a premium to sell chewing gum. When you see two answers that are opposite, it tells you one of them must be wrong and one of them must be right. So it kind of helps you narrow down the right answer. Here, B is wrong, D is right. Well, it's the other way around. B is right and D is wrong, but wrong equals right. He did not use baking soda as a premium to sell chewing gum. He used chewing gum as the premium, as the giveaway, the promotion. And number 15, C, phased out. Phase out means get rid of little by little. Okay, like this year, my factory made 1,000 of these. We're gonna phase them out. Next year, maybe 500, and then the last year, maybe 100, and then 0. So slowly, step by step, get rid of the product. The last two, the latter. The first two they kept. The first two are, the last two, the latter, they phased out. They didn't phase out. Juicy Fruit and Spearmint. They got more and more popular, therefore they did not phase them out. In fact, today we still have them. To this day means up to today. They're still very popular in the United States, Juicy Fruit and Spearmint. So we have the former two. When you're talking about referring back to a list, and here there's four: Vassar, Lodagam, Juicy Fruit, Spearmint. When you refer back, the first one or the first ones are the former, in this case, Vassar and Lodagam. And the last one or the last ones are the latter, in this case, Juicy Fruit and Spearmint. The former, Vassar and Lodagam, were phased out. The latter, Juicy Fruit and Spearmint, stayed up to today. Long time. Well, if you watch American baseball, there's a team called the Chicago Cubs. Wrigley, of course, is from Chicago. And the stadium they play in is very, very famous. It's, I think, the oldest stadium in America, probably for any sport. It's called Wrigley Field, and it's named after this man and this company. He became obviously super wealthy selling chewing gum, and he loved baseball. So he built a stadium, and the team still plays in Wrigley Field in Chicago. Next one, page 62, passage 4, dissociative identity disorder. This is basically, dissociative means to separate. Okay, so you separate or you fragment, break into pieces, your personality. So another word for this is sort of split personality. When a person, one person, can have multiple personalities. Very rare, very unusual, but it happens. I've never met anybody like that. I've just seen movies and read stories about people like that. Number 16, again, now the key here with number 16 and 17, this is important. Only answer the questions based on what is in the passage. Okay, that's really important. Answer the questions based on what is in the passage. Not on what you think is true or what makes sense, maybe, but the information in the passage. 16D, there's no talk about it. It doesn't say some violent, some non-violent. It might be true. Sounds true. Sounds possible. But it doesn't talk about it. So you can't assume if you answer based on what you see in the passage. D is not stated, therefore D is wrong, so D is right. Same thing with 17A. Manner of dressing, yes, that might be one of the things that differs among personalities, probably is, but it doesn't say. Okay, it talks about B, talks about C, talks about D. Gesturing means movements with your hands or your face, your body. Number 16D, number 17A. Number 18, no, Eve didn't star in the movie. Joanne Woodward starred in the movie. 18B is wrong, so 18B is right. 18B is not true. 18B. 19D, 1950, no, in the 1950s with an S, during that decade. Again, a decade is 10 years. The 1950s, the 1960s, the 1970s, those are decades. Decade just means any period of 10 years, okay? But we often refer to them in their number. So this would be the 2020s. We are now in the 2020s. That is the decade we are in. Number 20, D, yeah, only 3 could exist at one time. So she can't be aware of all 22, only 3 at a time. D is not correct, so D is right. 21, Sybil C developed all her personalities over 16 years. No. They developed over 40 years. They emerged, they came out, they surfaced after 40 years, over 40 years. So 21C. When you put something in water, you submerge it underwater. When it comes out, it emerges. Now, emerge doesn't mean just out of water. It could be, but it just means to be seen, to show up, to arrive, to manifest itself. And number 22A, it didn't take 40 years to write. BS, CS, DS, A, no. Number 22A. Okay, good work. Now, John Muir, very, very long passage. Now, some of you did quite well. I think I might have, not sure what I told you, if I told you 15 or 20 minutes, but the goal was 20 minutes, 20 minutes. I might have confused that, and if I did, I'm sorry. I think I told most of you 20 minutes is the goal. If you finished it in 20 minutes or less, fantastic. If you finished it in a little bit over 20 minutes, that's okay. This was long, this was difficult, a lot of vocabulary. Please notice that I have a lot of vocabulary listed in our class notes. I strongly recommend you look that over, and I strongly recommend you read the passage again after we go over it today. Okay, now the number one and number two from paragraph one. Number one is C. A couple of you asked about this. Number one, C, the first half of the 19th century. The 19th century means the 1800s, right? It's a little confusing. 20th century is the 1900s. Now we're in the 2000s, so we're in the 21st century. It's like one over the number. So the 19th century means the 1800s. The first half means up to 1850. He was born in 1838, therefore the first half of the 19th century. C. Number two, also C, maintain natural areas. Now, maintain means to take care of or to protect. Wilderness, lines 2 and 3 in the story say environmental protection and conservation. That's protecting, conserving, maintaining, taking care of. Okay, maintaining means taking care of it, maintaining your computer, maintaining your hygiene, maintaining your car, taking care of things. And natural areas, wilderness. Okay? It's not wilderness, it's wilderness. Wilderness means the wild areas or nature, natural areas. Okay. Notice as such, momomo as such means so or therefore. So it's a very formal academic English phrase. Number three, his early education was conducted done at home. Okay, he didn't have a formal education. Formal means regular, going to regular school like almost everybody. That's a regular formal education that almost all young people get. But his was not a formal education. It was done at home, conducted at home. A. Number four, again, answer based on what you read. Answer based on what's in the passage. Here it's B. He probably was taught how to whittle by his father. Sure, maybe, but it doesn't say that. Okay? It doesn't say his father taught him. You might think his father taught him. You might be right, but it doesn't say that. Number four is B. Whittling is an interesting term. It's a very specialized term in English. A lot of artists and craftsmen make things with wood. Some beautiful art is made by cutting wood to make art, or to make little machines like here. Art just means made by hand. It could be art like we think art, or it could be art like a little machine or a little tool. Art just literally means hand, human made. So to whittle is to cut wood. Okay, not chopping wood, to build a fire. That's not whittling. Whittling is, artistically, very careful, making a face or a mask or something out of wood. Number five, B. The reason 5 is the right answer is it says unhealable. Unhealable means doesn't heal, doesn't recover, doesn't get better. But actually, he did heal. He recovered. He recovered means he healed. So his injury was not unhealable. It was healable. He healed. Number 5, B. Number 6 is D. Okay, a laborer, yes, he worked doing odd jobs. Laborer means manual labor with your hands, manual work. Animal tender, yes, I'm going to talk about that. And a wilderness guide. Yep, he was a guide in the wilderness. These are all odd jobs. Okay, odd jobs means sort of part-time, temporary, doing some work to make money. And he took care of animals. Okay, sheep herder. Sheep herder means taking care of the sheep, taking them to eat, bringing them home, that kind of thing, herding them. You heard cows, you heard sheep, things like that. I guess goats too. And a tender means somebody who takes care of, right? So taking care of the sheep herder, animal tender. T-E-N-D, tend means literally take care of, like a goaltender in soccer takes care of the goal. Bartender takes care of the bar. And we also use keep, goalkeeper. Keep can mean the same as tend. Goaltender, goalkeeper, same thing. Bartender, barkeep, same thing. Zookeeper, taking care of the zoo, and so on. Number 7, after 1880, 7 is B. He devoted, in the years that followed, he was more involved in family life and in running the ranch given to him than in preservation of the environment. So after number 7 is B, devoting time to his family and his land. The ranch means the land that you own. Like a little bit like farm. Farm usually means you're planting vegetables and rice maybe. But a ranch is more animals, taking care of horses and cows and things like that. But there's some similarities and some crossover. Number 8, C, he did not work as an editor. No, the editor contacted him. Number 9, D, the camping trip helped Muir. He wanted to show John Muir how bad things were getting. They were developing this beautiful area. They were ruining the beautiful nature. Please come camping. I want you to see what's happening because I want you to help me save the natural areas. Number 9 is D. Number 10 is A. Okay, paragraph 5, line 2. A year later, a bill means a new law, known as the Enabling Act. To enable means to allow somebody is able to do something. What was enabled here was the president, the U.S. president, had the right to. Have the right to means you are allowed to. You are enabled with this power. Right? And now allowed them the right to reserve lands for preservation. To reserve is to set aside, conserve, protect, reserve. And A, allow the president, enable the president to set aside lands, to reserve lands, to preserve them, to save them from too much development. Number 11, this one I always think is kind of funny. 11 is D. I mean, you can read D is completely impossible. D says to move Yosemite to the Sierra Nevada. Well, Yosemite is a national park, right? It's a big national park. You can't move a national park. So D is impossible, so D has to be the right answer. It's like saying, we're gonna move Sorak-san to Jeju-do. Impossible. Can't do it. D is impossible, therefore D is the right answer. Number 12, the last decades in his life, paragraph 6, from then until his death. Okay, until his death means the last years or the last decades of his life. And here's a good word here. He worked assiduously, 열심히, very, very hard work, very diligently working until his death. So he devoted himself, D. He devoted, devotion means very diligent or hard work or assiduously. And number 13 is B. Here the problem with B is the grammar. Numerous parks, rivers, seashores, and preserves are being developed. Well, that might be true, but it means still happening. I'm sure some are still being developed, but no. In the passage it says, have been developed. Have been developed. And they're finished, not still happening. So the grammar is wrong, so that's why B is wrong, but then B is right, because it's a negative factual question. 13B. Okay, that was a tough one, yeah? Tough work. Good job, everyone. That's a really good review exercise. And speaking of which, we're going to do another one right now. We're going to do a review exercise together. If you look at page 66, 67, and really you just need page 67, and then page 68, 69, there are 13 questions. So I want you to treat this like a real test. I want you to, read the passage carefully, or at least preview it carefully. Look for the main points. Look for the structure. Understand how or where is the thesis statement and how the writer is organizing this passage. Then look at the questions 1 through 13, page 68, 69. Answer them. Try to finish in 20 minutes. Come back, and I'm going to review the answers with you. Alrighty? Think of it as a practice test. Okay, caretaker speech. Go ahead. All right, children learn to construct language, to build language from those around them, the people around them, mostly family, but also peers, P-E-E-R-S. Peer means like an equal. It generally means equal age, same age. Your peers are people your age. It can also mean same profession, same level, a doctor, a doctor. If you're a doctor, your peers are other doctors. If you're a professor, your peers are other professors. So how do they learn? By modeling. Modeling is copying, mimicking. Mimic, model, copy means the same thing, to copy something. And number one, again, as I mentioned, peers means same age, C, closer to their own age. As they get to the age of 3, they are affected more, influenced more by other children their own age or their peers. So from paragraph 1, we have number 1, C, and number 2, B, mimicking, modeling, copying. Number 3, caretaker speech is used often quite unconsciously, without thinking. Few people actually study how to modify language when speaking to younger children, but instead without thinking. Notice the synonym. Unconsciously, without thinking. A good writer uses synonyms. A good reader, you, recognizes those synonyms, and this is how you not only follow the passage better, but you learn good expressions and good vocabulary that way. Ways to reduce the complexity. Complex means difficult. Reduce, lessen. Reduce complexity of language, make it easier. Number 3, D. People seem to adapt their language to the level of a child's language without thinking consciously about it. Unconsciously, without thinking consciously. Now, reduce the complexity. Well, when you're an adult and you're talking to a small child, you change, you adapt to make your language simpler, easier, the level of a child. Level of a child means less complex, simpler. Number 3 is D. Number 4, A, it refers to the caretaker speech. And number 5, examples of these are expressions such as say bye-bye or where's dada? Okay, the key word here is these. What are these? Examples of these. Look back. The answer is D. If you look right before 5D, it says also includes the simplified sentence structures repeated in sing-song inflections, like rhyming style. Right? Say bye-bye, sounds like a song. Where's dada? Sounds like a song. Right? So, what are these? These are examples of simplified sentence structures. Okay? Say bye-bye is actually a sentence. Say goodbye. That's a sentence. Say bye-bye. Okay? And where's dada means where's daddy? Where's your father? Where's daddy? That's a sentence. Where's dada? Okay, the inflection. Inflection, by the way, is when your voice goes up. You heard me do it? Right. In every language, we use inflections, like in Korean. Right? A sentence like something like 좋아요 can be a sentence, a statement, or a question. 좋아요. Or 좋아요? Do you like it? By inflecting the sentence, putting your voice up, you make it a question. 좋아요? Okay, next one. Page number 6. B, they don't talk about rhyming sounds. They say overemphasized inflections. Again, do you like it? That's overemphasized or exaggerated. The tendency to repeat yourself, repetition, and the use of simpler words, easier words and structures, simpler words, of course. That's what we do when we talk to children. Number 6B. Number 7D, okay, modify, alter, adjust their speech according to the language development of a child. So when the baby is 1 year or 2 years old, you speak one way, and then when they're 3, you bring it up 4, 5, 7, 10, 12. You keep, parents sort of seem to naturally be able to follow and adapt to the level of the child. Number 8, to reach a certain age means C, to arrive at or get to that age, become that age. Number 9, that, the function. Okay, that of assisting a child, the function covered by caretaker speech, that of assisting, the function of assisting. If you go up a few lines here in paragraph 3, parents and older children regularly adjust their speech to a level that is slightly above that of a younger child, the level of a younger child. They adjust it to a level that is slightly above the level of a younger child, that of the child. Same thing for number 9 here. That of assisting a child, the function of assisting a child. Okay, it's a common structure in academic English. Number 10, A, people who believe in nature over nurture. Now, those who believe that caretaker speech is a natural and inherent function, they believe in nature over nurture. Okay, A. Believe that it is human nature for children to acquire language. They believe, they feel, okay, that it's natural for children to acquire language and for those around them, family, friends, but mostly family and older people, to encourage their language acquisition naturally. The presence of a child is itself a natural stimulus that increases the rate of caretaker speech among those present. So when you're with a bunch of adults and then suddenly a baby is brought in, everybody naturally, just seeing the baby, everybody naturally like, oh, cuckoo, caca, you like that. You naturally change. Or even a young person. All the adults will start to change their speech when they're talking to the young child. Number 10 is A. Number 11, it is not, okay, this is a negative one. It is not expected that someone who believes in nurture, okay, nurture means learning, not natural. You learn this. So, it is not expected, this one's a bit confusing, would believe that caretaker speech is more of a learned style. Yes, learned. It learned, nurtured. So A, yes, they would think that. A is wrong. Remember, it's a negative question. B, would use different styles of caretaker speech with children in response to what is working best. Learning what speech works best. B, yes, this is what they would think, what they would believe, so it's wrong, negative. A is right, therefore wrong. B is true, therefore wrong. C, again, yes, would learn to use different styles. Learn, learn, learn. A, B, C, true, 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 wrong. The answer is D. Yeah, would you use less caretaker speech in those? No, it doesn't say some people use more or less. It never talks about that. That is not mentioned, therefore that is the right answer. 11 is D. 12A, to try out, like to test or experiment, try on some clothes, try out a new video game. You test it, you experiment, you try it. And number 13, B. Now, an important point to note is that the function covered by caretaker speech, that of, the function of, assisting a child to acquire language in small and simple steps is an unconsciously used but extremely important part of the process of language acquisition, and as such, therefore, so, is quite universal. Universal means all over the world. B. It is not, caretaker speech is not merely, not only, not just a device used by English-speaking parents. Okay, number 13 is B. How did you do? Okay, now remember, a lot of things are important here. Timing, being able to understand the passage, the structure. How is the writer organizing this passage? Well, paragraph 1 introduces it. The main point, caretaker speech, a little background about it, defines it. Boom, caretaker speech. Now we go into it and we talk about what it is, defining it, and then finally we talk about this difference of nature versus nurture. Is it nurtured? Is it something we learn? Is it natural? Does it come automatic? Well, I mean, I don't think anybody reads a book called How to Use Caretaker Speech. There might be books like that, but for the most part, it seems pretty natural. All right, good work, everyone. Let's move on. Skill 7, make inferences from stated facts. Now, skill 7, inferences. Inferences are things that are not stated directly. Okay, not stated directly. So you have to infer. You have to read between the lines. Means not the words, but what's implied in those words. In English, we call it reading between the lines. Between the lines, of course, there's a space, but there's also some hidden meanings. Okay? Don't be confused by the two words imply and infer. It's really talking about the same thing. Imply is active. It's the writer implies, the speaker implies, okay? Active, going out. To infer is passive, coming in. The reader infers and the listener infers, okay? Writer and speaker going out, imply, reader and listener coming in, infer. So you'll see questions with both words. All right, see my example here. John passed his driving test. Okay? John had a driving test, he passed it. John finally passed his driving test. What is implied here? What the word finally implies that John failed the test many times. Right? He took the test, failed, took the test, failed, took the test, finally passed it, like that. It does not say John took the test many times and failed and he passed the test. No, it implies that information. That is what we mean by an inference. Something not stated directly, but true, implied in the sentence. Ancient coins, okay? It can be inferred from paragraph 1 that gold came into use as a medium of exchange, a medium like money. Basically, medium of exchange means what's in the middle. When you want to buy something, what's in the middle between you and the seller? The money. The money goes in the middle between you, medium. Okay, long before coins were invented, metals such as gold were used. So long before coins were invented. When were coins invented? In the 7th century BC, 700 BC, therefore before 700 BC. It doesn't say that, but you must understand that by putting the facts together, okay, connecting the ideas and making an inference. Number 2, it is implied, okay, notice number 1, it can be inferred by you, the reader. Number 2, it is implied by the writer, but it's the same thing. Just different direction. The coins from the time of King Croesus. Well, one such coin minted, to mint a coin is to make a coin. Okay? Mint doesn't mean like you put in your mouth for fresh breath. That's different mint. Mint as a verb is to make money. Mint as a noun can be the factory, the mint. Every country has a mint, a factory to make money. The country, the government mints the money, makes the money. Time of Lydian, King Croesus, who ruled from 560 BC to 546. Remember, in BC, you count down, not up. So 560 to 546 actually means increasing, even though the numbers are going down. It was not until 525 after him, after he died, that coins with images on both sides came into being. Therefore, during the time of King Croesus, they were imprinted, stamped on only one side. So a coin said, an amount on one side, and then the other side was blank. Imprinted on one side only. The Lydians of Western Anatolia. Anatolia, the Lydians are long gone. Whoever they were, they don't exist anymore. Western Anatolia is part of what is now Turkey. It's I guess a province or a region in Turkey. And so Western Anatolia, at that time, the Lydians lived there. Now Turkish people live there. As always, you should read page 70, 71 again, do the work again, reread it, and look at the chart, the box on page 71. That's very, very, very important. All right, let's do a couple skills here. Passage 1, tiger moth. Well, moth is a nabang, like a nabi, but a little bit different. I think we know what tigers are. Go ahead. I want you to read tiger moths, answer 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then come back and I'll review it for you. Go ahead. Okay, one of the most beautiful of the 100,000 known species in the order Lepidoptera are the tiger moths. Now, one of means there are others. Known means it implies there are others. Okay? When you see a scientific article that says the 100,000 known species, it means we know about human beings, scientists. We know, we've learned of this many, but it implies there are more. We just don't know them yet. There's so much we don't know about science. B, there may be more than 100,000 species. Known implies there may be more. Number 2, it's called a tiger moth. Why? Because it's orange and black, yellow and black. Like a tiger. Tigers are orange and black, yellow and black. A, its coloration, its colors looks like a tiger. Number 3, now they instinctively see these bright colors. They go, oh, danger, danger, danger. It's nature's way of saying, be careful, it's bad, it's poisonous. Therefore, it's D, the predator would back away. Yeah, predator trying to eat, here's a moth, I want to eat this moth. Bright colors, instinctively they know danger. And and 4, they would want to attack a moth that wasn't beautifully colored. Okay, A is very bright and beautiful, B is very bright and beautiful, and D is very bright and beautiful. C, brown and gray, not so beautiful. Safe, lunchtime, eat it. Notice all these synonyms here: bold patterns, striking appeal, striking coloration, and so on and so forth. Lots and lots of visually attractive. It all means the same thing. They're very bright and beautiful and striking, very easy to notice. Good use of synonyms here in this passage. Noxious, warning smell. Noxious means kind of makes you sick, like ugh, makes you feel like vomiting. Like really bad old food. You open it, oh, it's gone bad. That smell tells you right away, don't eat, it's no good. That's a noxious smell. Okay, let's go on to Cambrian explosion. Next one, passage 2, page 73. Go ahead, try to finish in 5 minutes or less. All right, many of, right there. That's an inference word or phrase. Many of the major phyla, like file, types. Okay? Our word file is connected to phyla, a file or one type, one set, arose during the Cambrian period. Many means not all. Right there, you must infer that. Very important. A, some phyla developed during other periods. Many developed now means others developed at other times. Number 6, this one's pretty easy, really. 540 million minus 500 million equals 40 million. A, 40 million years. Number 7, okay, again, paragraph 2, same start, same thing. One explanation is mo, mo, mo. This is one reason means there are others. There are other explanations. There are other theories. D. The theory of polar wander. Wander means moving, moving from place to place, wandering, is not the only theory. One theory, mo, 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 means this is only one, there are more. D. And number 8, if you look at line 2, according to this theory, the rapid diversification occurred because of an unusually rapid reorganization of the Earth's crust. Unusually rapid. Rapid means fast. Unusually means it's not how it normally happens. It's different. This is an inference word. It means that other times it was not so rapid. This is unusually fast, means it implies it's usually slower. C. Number 8 is C. Okay, any questions about that, please ask me in your email this week. Homework this week, only 2 passages. It's page 74 and page 75. Page 74 and 75, go ahead and answer those, and I will review them next week in our lecture video. Good work so far, everyone. Let's get now to our listening comprehension. Please turn to page 154. Bek Oshipsa 154. You might want to listen again to these. If you do, that's great. I sent them to you again today, just in case. But you can use, I sent you extra time just to make it more convenient. So you can listen again, or you can look page 590. You can look at the script. I'm just going to quickly go over the answers here. Native American studies, Native American, American Indian, Iroquois. The Iroquois were a confederacy. They were like a group, almost like a nation of many different small nations coming together. I think they were like cousins. They had similar languages, similar cultures. They were each individual tribes, but they came together as one big group, almost like a United States kind of idea. Number 5 is B. The woman, the professor is very, very positive. That's the key. She's very positive in her description. A is negative. T-O-O means too much, negative, too simple. No. C, overly. Overly means too much. Embellished means like decorations, or it's too fancy. No, it's the opposite. It's very simple, but in a very practical way. And D is unnatural, also negative. A is negative, wrong. C is negative, wrong. D is negative, wrong. B, it is remarkably effective. Remarkably, incredibly, amazingly good, useful, practical. Now, number 6 is a strange question. I don't particularly like this one, to be honest with you, but the answer is D. He says, I'm not very good at it. That means a specialty is something you're good at. So it's not especially means I'm not good. We wouldn't say this isn't one of my specialties. That's very awkward, to be honest with you. That's quite awkward. I don't think anybody would say that. But anyway, number 6 is D. Meteorology. Remember, meteorology means studying the weather. Hail. Hail, it's not a big wave. Hail, no, that's not in English. Hail is, well, in Korean, hail is ubak. Ubak, little, basically balls of ice, snow that fall from the sky. Very dangerous. Not common. I've seen it before here a few times, but not very often. But it does happen in Korea. Back home in the States, we'll get hail maybe once a year. Yeah. It definitely happens. Okay, here the thing that we're looking at is that the change, okay? The man changes completely. At the beginning, I don't understand, what is this? I don't know. Then the woman explains it. She explains it very well. And oh, okay, thank you. Now I understand. So the key here is the change in how he feels. Okay, the change in his stance. Number 7 at the beginning, D, it does not make sense. It isn't clear. It isn't clear means it doesn't make sense. And number 8, he does understand it. He's, oh, okay, I get it. Oh, yeah, that's not so difficult. Well, okay, this isn't as difficult as I thought. I can understand it. B. Number 7, D, not clear, doesn't make sense. Number 8, B, I get it. I understand. His friend, the lady, she did a great job of explaining it. Okay, so for our next thing, yes, Fugyo coin. Okay, yeah, let's do one review exercise together now. Page 156, American History, the Fugyo coin. Okay, we see a professor, but we also see some students. So when you see the professor and students in the picture, it usually means you'll hear mostly the professor's voice, of course, but you'll also hear some student voices. Then the picture of the coin here, the front and the back of the coin, the Fugyo coin. Interesting. All right, go ahead. I sent you the listening files. Please listen and answer number 1 through 6. When you're done, I will go through the answers for you. Go ahead. Okay, number 1. Okay, what does she say? Okay, come on, you must know this, come on. Now, we've seen that before, remember? What is 500 degrees Celsius is 900 degrees Fahrenheit? We've talked about this, come on. When a teacher says, come on, it means he or she is a little bit frustrated. You should know this. What's wrong? Come on. Okay, D, number 1, D. Number 2, the tag question here. Tag question is the key. She says, do you know when this was? Was it was because Benjamin Franklin was on it, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Okay, that's a tag question. Tag question is what you do to check. Checking. You study English, don't you? I think you study English, but I'm checking, right? Isn't that right? So sometimes a teacher will do that, but they'll give you wrong information. Benjamin Franklin was on it, right? No, wrong. Teachers do that all the time. They tell you something wrong on purpose, not to confuse you, but because they want you to disagree. They want you to say, no, teacher, that's wrong. No. Benjamin Franklin was not on it, not on the coin. Okay? It's checking to make sure the students are paying attention and that they understand. A. Number 3, Sam's having a little, Sam needs help. He can't quite answer the question. Who can help Sam means the best answer here is B. A, no, she doesn't feel sorry for him, no. C, no. C implies that it's the classmate's fault. No, Sam just doesn't know all of the information. And D, no, Sam has not done enough. Has not done enough. That's not true. He hasn't completely answered the question. And she's like, well, Sam, that's not quite everything. Who can help Sam? Sam's got part of the answer. Now, somebody else tell us the rest of the answer. B, Sam doesn't seem to know the answer. Not a perfect answer, but it's the best answer, B. Okay, Sam knows some of the answer, but not all of the answer. So now, who can help Sam? Who can say more? B. Number 4 is, classic. Oh, excuse me, did I say front? I meant back. D, to correct yourself. Again, when you hear that, it's not an accident. It's a script. Okay? And in English and Korean and in every language, we make little mistakes. We go, oh, no, what am I saying? Sorry. Did I say front? I meant back. Okay? Every day you make a little mistake and you correct it. It's natural, but here it's not natural. It's a script. Get ready for a question. Number 4 is D. Number 5, B. Yeah, the unity. Okay. That's a very appropriate idea for a coin issued by the U.S. Okay. We are one. We, all of us, are one. We are united. The United States are called that because they're all different states. They're individual states united as one country. We are one country. We are the United States. And number 6, all throughout the talk, you notice that the professor is not exactly happy, a little bit disappointed in the students. Come on. Sam needs some help. Your answers aren't great today. I think you didn't prepare well. Teachers always know. You guys were supposed to be very well prepared for our class today, and I think you did not prepare well enough, so maybe I'll give you a quick quiz next week. Uh-oh. When a teacher does that, the students go, uh-oh, I better prepare. If we're going to have a quiz, I better prepare better than today. Today, the teacher was not happy, so maybe next week I'll give you a quiz to make sure. Why? Because A, better preparation is important. Okay, good. So that's the first review exercise for skills 3 and 4. Now, for homework, I want you to, only one listening homework exercise. It's a big one though. It's the review exercise for all 4 listening skills, right? The gist, the details, the function, and the stance. Okay, you're going to get questions of all 4, so think about those while you listen. Zoology, we know what zoology is. It's the study of animals. Hibernation, maybe you know what that is. If not, you can probably guess by looking at some of the pictures. All right, go ahead and do exercise, the second review exercise, page 158, 159. And then next week, I'm going to review that. We'll begin our listening practice with the review of this exercise. And that's enough. We'll start skill 5. We're going to start together in the video next week. Great work, everyone. Again, if you have any questions about the midterm, please ask very specific questions. Why is number 2 this answer? That kind of thing. Specific. The more specific the question is, the better I can help you. If you have no questions, that's fine. Keep up the good work. Remember that we're coming together in week 15 for our final exam. I will give you more information later about the details of that. Just be ready for it. Start preparing now. And next week we'll continue with our lectures here in the book. Great job. Please email me by Thursday at 5 p.m. at the latest. Earlier is better, but no later than 5 p.m. Thursday. Get the work done. Ask any questions and have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.